1.7 is about prefixes and equalities, and that's actually the precursor to doing conversions themselves. So we're going to do the prefixes and the conversions in one right after the other. Now, prefixes, a lot of people don't think they're that important, and they're actually just annoying. A lot of students feel this way. But in reality, they're actually becoming quite prevalent in our society. For instance, if you go buy an iPhone, do you want a 16 gig or do you want a 32 gig? Well, what's a gig? And what does a gig mean? Well, they're referring to gigabytes. Bytes is just the storage, the memory. Giga is the prefix in front of it. So that's telling you how many bytes you have of storage. Another example is milli and micro. These are really relevant in nursing because you'll be asked to measure out milligrams of some drug or micrograms for some drug. You look at the labels and it could say it contains so many micrograms of aspirin or so many micrograms of folic acid. So these are actually really relevant in the medical field. Now, the prefix itself is just the letters in front of the actual unit. For instance, meters is the unit here, grams is the unit here. They both begin with kilo. Well, kilo means 1,000. So a kilometer is 1,000 meters. Kilogram is 1,000 grams. It doesn't matter what unit it is. It could be kilobytes, it could be kilowatts, it could be kilopounds. It really doesn't matter. Kilo is 1,000, that's all it's saying. Table 1.8 is the table that you're going to have to memorize in your book. So that gives you a list of all your prefixes. And it keeps going to having the small prefixes too. Notice on the right-hand side, it's written in two different terms. It's written in one where 1 deciliter is 1 times 10 to the negative 1 liters, or 1 liter is 10 deciliters. These two things are the same, it's just written differently. Okay, so if it's 1 times 10 to the negative 1, that means if we took that out of scientific notation, that means it would be 0.1 liters. If you put in your calculator, if you put 1 divided by 10, you will find that it equals 0.1. If you took 1 divided by 100, you would find that it would equal 0.01, which is what this is. 0.001, which is what this is, 1 divided by 1 times 10 to the third. These two things are the same thing. It's just written differently. It all depends on whether you like whole numbers or if you like decimal places. That's completely up to you. So if we take a look at this, 1,000 meters is equal to 1 something meter. Well, 1,000 means kilo. If we look on our chart, kilos here, it means 1,000. So that means that this is going to be kilometers. 1 times 10 to the negative 3 grams is equal to what kind of grams? So if we look over here, 1 times 10 to the negative 3, here we go, 1 times 10 to the negative 3, 0.001 is milli. So it's equal to 1 milligram. 0.01 meters is equal to what kind of meters? 0.01 is centi. If we took the height or the length of something, and we say it's 1 meter, you would have 10 decimeters in there. So 10, 20, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All these big dashes are decimeters. You'd also have 100 centimeters on the little dashes. They are all the same measurement, they're just written differently. Cubic centimeters is abbreviated cc's or cm3. I bring this up not only because it's in the book, because you hear it on medical shows a lot. In fact, in the hospitals, they don't even really say cc's anymore, they say mLs. But that means the exact same thing. It means if you need 50 cc's, it means you need 50 milliliters. So if we take a closer look, here's a syringe, and you need to fill 2 milliliters of a medicine to give to a baby, and then put it in its mouth. Well, here's 2 milliliters here. It could also be 2 centimeters cubed, or it could be 2 cc's. However the doctor asks you to do it, it all means the same thing. Those are used interchangeably. I'll give you a minute to think about this. Okay, so which is bigger, millimeters or centimeters? This is 0.01, this is 0.001. So centimeters is bigger. Which is bigger, kilograms or centigrams? This is 0.01, this is 1,000. So this is going to be bigger. Milli, 0.001, micros, 0.00001. So milli is going to be bigger. Alright, so we're actually almost to the point of conversions. We're doing conversion factors now. Something equal to something else. All of these are conversion factors. You need to memorize the ones in the middle, which are all prefixes, except for the minutes to hours, which I'm hoping you know how to do. I will not provide those for you on a test. That has to be your own doing. These on the right and these on the left, I will provide you with. But notice some of them that you might be familiar with, like 12 inches in a foot. There are 12 inches in a foot, period. That is a definition. There's 3 feet in a yard. Those are the exact same thing. That becomes important later on when we start doing the conversions themselves. Alright, so if we're looking more closely at a conversion factor, it's something equal to something else. So when we start using these for the actual problems, think about it this way. If we take 5 divided by 5, that equals 1. 20 divided by 20, that equals 1. Anything divided by itself is 1. So if we have 12 inches in a foot, I'm using this one because that's something that you guys are that you should be familiar with. If I say 12 inches over 1 foot, these are the same lengths, just written differently. So it's actually being divided by itself. It's being divided by something that's equivalent. So that's going to be equal to 1. If we have 3 feet is equal to 1 yard, I can say 1 yard divided by 3 feet is equal to 1 because those are the exact same amount. So in reality, when we're making it into a fraction, we're turning it into 1. All we're doing is taking the conversion factor and making it into a fraction, so that way we can actually multiply something by it so we can change the units. So let's take that bit of information and actually start doing some problems. So if we take a look at the rattlesnake, which is 2.44 meters long, try to figure out how many centimeters that is. From our chart, we realize that there's 100 centimeters is equal to 1 meter. So we have 2.44 meters over 1. All I've done is taken the number we're trying to convert and change it into a fraction. I have not actually changed the value of it. Anything divided by 1 is still itself. So 2.44 meters is the same thing as 2.44 meters over 1. I haven't changed its value. We have meters on the top. Whatever's on top needs to be on the bottom of the next bracket. So I have meters on top. That means I want to put meters on the bottom. I look at my conversion factor, and I see we have meters right here. So number 1 goes with meters, so I put 1 there for that reason. That's equal to 100 centimeters, and that goes on top. Whatever it's equal to goes on top. So if I took the time to actually write this out, it would be 2.44 meters times 100 centimeters over 1 meter. Notice 1 times 1. All I did was multiply across. So the meters on top and meters on bottom cancel out, because meters divided by meters is 1. So we don't have to worry about that anymore. So it'd be 2.44 times 100, which comes out to be 244. So if we take a step back and look at what we did, first thing we did was determine our conversion factors. Second thing we did was change the number we're trying to convert to a fraction. Third thing we did was figure out what number goes on the bottom of the second bracket. And then the fourth thing we did was put the equivalent on the top. And then we multiplied across and canceled out what we needed to. Alright, so let's do this again. We have 1.4 days, and we're going over the minutes. First thing we want to do is figure out our conversion factors. We can't get from days to minutes in one step easily, but we do know there are 24 hours in a day, and we know that there are 60 minutes in 1 hour. There's our conversion factors. Step 2, we're going to change the number we're trying to convert and put it into a fraction. So 1.4 days becomes 1.4 days over 1. Number 3, whatever's on top needs to be put on the bottom. So I have days on top. I look at my conversion factors and I look for days. I have days right there. It has the number 1 next to it, so I'm going to put a 1 there. And that's equal to 24 hours. And that is number 4, putting what it's equal to on top. If we look here, we're in hours now. We want it in minutes, so we have another step to do. We've already used this one, so we're not going to worry about that one again. We already have, now that we have it in the fraction and we figured out our conversion factors, we can go back to steps 3 and 4. We'll just keep repeating 3 and 4 until we're in the units we need. So, back to 3. We need hours on the bottom. Look at our conversion factor. 1 goes with hours, and that is equal to 60 minutes, so that goes on top. So, step 5 is the calculating through. So we multiply all the top and we multiply all the bottom. So 1.4 days times 24 hours times 60 minutes. And then on the bottom, it's 1 times 1 day times 1 hour. Days cancel, hours cancel. I'll give you a second to put that in your calculator. That should come out to be 2,016 minutes. Now, 24 hours in a day and 60 minutes in an hour are both definitions, so we only have to worry about the significant figures in our first number. So it would be 2.0 times 10 to the 3 minutes. If I would have just kept it rounded up to 0, there's no way to make that 0 count without making these count. I can't just randomly put a decimal in here somewhere, because if I put it here, all 4 of those numbers count. Therefore, I had to put it in scientific notation. Alright, let's try another one. This one's a little bit trickier. Alright, if you pace on a treadmill 65 meters per minute, how many minutes will it take you to walk 7.5 kilometers? So we actually have 2 numbers here. That's why you have to take the time to read the question rather than just guessing this number goes here and this number goes there. Take the time to think about it. When you see per, that's how long it takes you. For instance, like miles per hour. You can go 65 miles in 1 hour. This person can walk 65 meters in 1 minute. They've actually given you a conversion factor in the question itself. So that's not the number we're trying to convert. 7.5 is the number we're trying to convert. So we have 7.5 kilometers. Put that into a fraction. It's in kilometers. We can't use this yet. So we may not have noticed it at first, but we actually need another conversion factor. Now we can finish it up. So 1 kilometer, kilometers on top, so I want to put kilometers on bottom. 1,000 meters. Those cancel. 1 meters are on top. I want to put meters on the bottom. I'm going to use this conversion factor now. 65 meters in 1 minute. As a little bit of a shortcut, you can cancel this out as you go. And so it would be 7.5 times 1,000 divided by 65. If it's on the top, you're going to multiply. If it's on the bottom, you're going to divide, just as if we had written it all out with numbers on the top and numbers on the bottom. This divided by this. Same kind of situation. It'd be this divided by this. So you can go 7.5 times 1,000 divided by 65. And that comes out to be 115.38. 2 significant figures, so 120 minutes. All right, we are going to discuss shortly about the idea of using percentages as conversion factors. For instance, if we have 11% body fat, that means for every 100 grams, you're going to have of weight, total weight, you're going to have 11 grams of fat. That's what a percentage is. It's the amount out of a whole. Here we have 11 kilograms of fat for every 100 kilograms of total weight. It'll always be out of 100. So if you look here, 25% of sugar. So if we have 25% sugar, that means we have 25 grams of sugar for every 100 grams of candy. So we have 120 grams of candy over 1, because that's what we're trying to convert. 100 grams of candy are on the bottom because we have grams of candy on the top of this one, so we want to put it on the bottom of the next one, and that equals 25 grams of sugar. They want it in pounds. Do I have the conversion factor for pounds? I think it's 414. Let's see if it's up here. Alright, mass. Here we go. 454 grams per pound. That was close. 454 grams is equal to 1 pound. So we have grams of sugar on top. We want to put the grams of sugar on the bottom, and then 1 pound of sugar on the top. So here's our percentage right here, and here's our conversion to get from grams to pounds. Grams of candy cancel, grams of sugar cancel. We are left over with pounds of sugar. So it'll be 120 times 25 divided by 100 times 1 divided by 454. Put that in your calculator. That comes out to be 0.066 pounds of sugar. Alright, and that is the end of the conversions lesson. The next one will be about density.